Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Voice of the Entrepreneur. This is Ahmed. I am super excited about this interview. I am standing right outside the house of Gary Bizzo, who is a serial entrepreneur with many businesses under his belt. He's a global social influencer with over 500,000 Twitter followers alone. He's named as one of the top 200 most social influencers in the world. I can't be more excited for this interview. I got some great questions to ask him. He's welcomed us in his home, and I'm about to go in, step in there, lay out some questions that I got from my viewers and see what he has to say. Let's go check him out. Here we are, guys. We're right at the door of Gary Bizzo. Let's go check him out. Let's see what he has to say. Let's talk to him. Let's get all the good stuff from his brain. How you doing, Gary?
Hi.
Gary, welcome to the Voice of the Entrepreneur. I'm so glad that we're sitting down here. How you doing, Gary?
Thanks, Ahmed. Welcome to my neighborhood. I'm doing great.
That's awesome.
It's Friday. We're in God's country.
We are in God's country, and it's a beautiful day. So what a wonderful place to sit down here in your backyard and do this interview.
Thank you.
Gary, tell us a little bit about your work, what you've been doing, and the social media stuff. I know you were named as one of the top 200 social media influencers. Tell us, how did you get that name?
Well, this is a challenge. I asked three analysts how I got on that list, and they said it's organic, it's real. So I thought it was some kind of gimmick. They were going to ask me to pay them $100 to be on the list of the top influencers in the world for 2017.
Wow!
But who knows? We all underestimate our value, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, you don't get a title like that without doing anything. So the work that you've been doing for the last 10 years, I suppose, has been right. Tell me, what does it take to be that kind of a social influencer? Because people talk about social influencers all over the place. What does it really take?
Well, I've worked with 1,000 startups in incubators, 2 incubators over the last 15 years. And you learn a lot about entrepreneurs, and you learn a lot about what makes them tick. You learn a lot about how to make things better for them, and I try really hard to do that. I've been with Twitter for about 10 years, so I spend a lot of time on it, and it's organic. I'm not a robot. People actually send me things. Are you a robot? Because I can't believe I've got such a following, and I talk about relevant things. I talk about things that are important to typically entrepreneurs. They're my keywords: entrepreneurs, startups. And I put myself out there. I volunteer. I mentor for free to the Richard Branson Center for Entrepreneurs, Futurepreneur, which is a program for young entrepreneurs to get their business going. So it's fun, and I think if you give out, you get a lot back, and that's how I think it happens.
Yeah, I agree. When you give out, that's when you get a lot, and it's really about creating value, and that's how you become an influencer, because you're giving people what they would really be able to use. That's great. Gary, I think you have close to 500,000 followers on Twitter.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to get there? And was it slow in the beginning, and then one day it just jumped? How did it go? What was the process?
The joke is, for 3 years I was just growing steadily, and then one Christmas morning I was fished.
Okay.
Now, people may not know what that is, but it was Christmas morning at 7. I was a little bit hungover, shall we say. I had family in town. I wasn't thinking, and this young 14-year-old kid got me to give him my password to my Twitter account. Okay. And within 30 seconds, I realized my mistake. I thought he was Twitter, and I lost 300,000 followers.
Wow. So
it took me the next 5 years to get back up to 500,000.
Wow. 300,000 followers lost pretty much overnight.
Yeah.
And how long did it take you to get to 300,000 followers?
About 3-4 years.
Wow. That's pretty. So what did you do after that?
I was in a purple funk for 3 months. I couldn't even talk. I actually, a friend of mine took me down to Seattle, and we actually spoke to the CIA and the FBI about charging this guy.
Wow. Yeah.
And you can't do anything. They don't care, the CIA. But that's what they're there for.
Great story, by the way. Exactly.
I'm full of stories.
You are. You are. When entrepreneurs are starting out, they're looking to create their own influence. They're trying to become. A lot of them want to become thought leaders in their industry to find the kind of success they want. People have a lot of distraction today. There's so much out there in social media. How do you separate yourself from the crowd? And when it comes to tweeting or content, what is it that people in your experience are looking for that would separate them from the crowd?
Well, a lot of people try to be generalists, and when I was a photographer, I did everything. I did baby pictures to commercial advertising to President Clinton, summits, that kind of thing. Right. People have to find a niche. My Twitter account is very targeted. The demographics are males, predominantly 63%. I mean, I know these numbers, right. Between 35 and 52. Right. Gross income of 150,000 US a year, entrepreneurs. So that's because I've targeted those people. Right. And to be a thought leader, you have to spend thousands of hours to be a global thought leader. For sure. It starts local, national, and global, and it just takes time and again, putting yourself out there. Right.
So you got to know your market, or you got to know who are you speaking to.
Right.
And once you know that, then you can target your content accordingly.
But that's what you need in every business. Right. So why would it be any different on a social media platform? Know your market, talk to them. I talk to them, I engage with people. The biggest thing in my new book coming out is engagement, because people just throw stuff out there and hope people follow them. I ask people what they think. I get into a lot of trouble sometimes when I give my opinion on certain things. So I try to stay away from politics and Chardonnay after 11 o'clock.
Right. But it's true, though, because social influence is really about, it's not just about saying what's already out there, but saying things that really matter to people that could, change their lives in whatever way it could.
Well, it's also thinking differently. Like in my last book, How to Start a Successful Business the First Time, I had a lot of time spent on how to name your company. Sounds goofy. Doesn't it sound common sense?
Yeah.
But that hit a chord with a lot of people, because if you look at names of companies now, there's a lot of stupid company names. People can't find them on the internet. They can't pronounce them. They don't know how to spell them. Right. So it's common sense issues that I deal with a lot of time.
Common sense. It's so funny you say that, because yes, sometimes it's the very thing that's missing.
It's not common.
It's not very common, right? So how do you train yourself as an entrepreneur to look out for those things that would, the things that are obvious but are not so obvious?
It's training. It's like our videographer today. Right. He had to make sure the background was okay. Yeah. There's nothing worse than having something that you can't see because you weren't looking for it.
I agree. That's it's the details that matters.
Details.
Even with it's details. And with entrepreneurs, sometimes because there's so much going on, it's difficult to focus on the details. And then that's when priority comes in. So let me ask you, Gary, you got so many different things going. How do you prioritize what's important and what's going to bring you the results that you want?
I spend a lot of time with my time management. I have things I do in the morning before 8 o'clock. I have things that I do in the morning 9 to 12. I have meetings on the phone typically then. In the afternoons I have outside meetings. Right. I don't do sales on Monday and Friday. Right. People in Vancouver don't want to talk to you about sales. Right. Monday's a good time to do books. Yes. So it's a matter of time management and being consistent and sort of being aware that you have to have time set aside to do certain things.
Okay, so it's really time management, and that's something that I hear from a lot of entrepreneurs that are successful. They have mastered the game of time management and prioritizing.
Well, the other thing is people tend to find 10 things they want to do and throw them all against the wall and see which sticks. Yes. And that doesn't work either. You have to have focus. Focus and time management.
That is a great point, because without focus, you really can materialize the kind of results that you want. So, again, as an entrepreneur, there's so much opportunity that you can run after, especially today in the world that we live in. How do you know the ones that are going to be aligned with yourself and bring you the kind of results that you want to create?
The entrepreneurs I work with,
Yes.
it's well, with private financing, we talk about due diligence all the time, and for the longest time, I didn't do that with my clients,
Right.
and now I do. I've reduced my clientele down to 10% because I decided to focus only on those people
Right.
that I knew I could make a difference with. I'm not an accountability coach. I'm a mentor,
Right.
which means I give you advice based on a lot of experience, a lot of mistakes,
Yeah.
which is what experience is based on.
I agree. Exactly. I mean, starting a business, sometimes I think that if you were to start a business and succeed, you might not learn what you could learn from the failures, right?
I've met startup guys that did that and they're useless.
So that's funny, because failure is really what teaches you so much than sometimes even success can. Shifting gears a little bit, Gary, you mentioned you were the author of 2 books. One of them is about how to start a successful business. So, what does a successful business look like when it's, like a small business? What does it look like? Is it the revenue generation? Is it the team?
I'm glad you asked that because people always say you must be a zillionaire. And I say, no, I'm comfortable. I'm happy.
Right.
Like, are you happy in what you're doing? I talk a lot in my book about it's all factual. It's not a lot of rah-rah stuff.
Right.
It's factual stuff with a lot of insight. And I think it's really important that you define what your goals are. And whether it's I want to make $50,000 a year and have a really good lifestyle that I can take days off and go golfing, or I want to go for the $500,000 payday.
Yes.
So it's really up to the entrepreneur.
So it's about what you've set your vision for right from the beginning. You have to decide.
It's like the guy who is a really good manager and a really good boss because he wants to be, versus the guy who's just going like full tilt and doesn't care who he runs over. There's a lot to be said in your goals. Vision, your mission, all that stuff.
One of the chapters in your book is about financing.
You read my book?
Yes, I did. That chapter is very insightful because it gives you tools that you would need to go look for financing. A lot of entrepreneurs don't go in the direction of their dreams or what they want to develop because they're afraid that they will never get the resources that they need. What would you say to an entrepreneur that's thinking, I want to start a business, but I don't have the money?
Well, I think you have to have the passion, and that's the wrong answer.
I would agree, but it's so much out there.
If it's a really good idea, I would ask my friends and family what they think about it.
Okay.
And if your family and friends think you're crazy, you might want to reconsider your idea. And if it's because you don't have money that you can't proceed, then family and friends is the first seed round for any business to go to.
Right.
If your family believes in you and it's a good idea, ask them for a couple of grand. Make sure you can scale your business. Somebody will write up a plan for the first year of growth and they need 200,000. Well, if they scale it, have no employees, no fancy car and a penthouse, maybe you can do it for 20. Now it's not an insurmountable problem. The other thing is, what about a partner who does have money? As long as it's complementary kind of deal where your talents sort of complement each other, not run parallel, then you're fine.
Sure.
There are government loans. There's microfinancing with some of the banks.
Right.
You just have to look and you have to talk to the right people.
A lot of the ideas, I would think, are when people are, they look at it, they get skeptical about the idea. I don't know if this is going to work. And then the entrepreneur is discouraged themselves. What then? You said evaluate your idea using your friends and family. Ask them for their opinion. What if you still believe in your idea that it's the right one? Should you still go out and test it?
Yeah. I mean, I have a an idea that people should use focus groups. You get 8 or 10 people in a room. You have specific questions geared towards your business and ask them, do you like the color of the product?
Right.
Is the price point fine? If I market it to families, will it work? Questions that will bring up that. That will give you a better idea if you're on the right track or not. There's lots of self-assessment tools out there that you can... I had a woman who wanted to start a coffee shop, and I was coaching her, and I just said, stop. She said, why? I've got the money, and I want a coffee shop. I said, you have no personality. You want to sit in the back room managing the books when you should be out in doing the barista and engaging with your clients.
Right, right.
You're not in the right business. You should be an accountant or something. So it's prudent to look at your skills, what you offer, and then align yourself with that type of business. I always do a SWOT analysis. It's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Right.
The strengths and weaknesses are yours.
Yes.
You got to be honest. You can't bullshit this.
You're right.
Strengths and weaknesses. The weaknesses, you can write them down, but you have to put a little note next to them how you can mitigate those.
Right.
For instance, if you're terrible with money, that's a weakness. So how do you mitigate it? You hire a bookkeeper.
Yeah.
Or someone as a partner who can manage the finance. The next two are opportunities and threats.
Right.
Those are external. You have no control over it. So you have to know your business inside out to be able to determine if the market's right, if the threats are there that you don't know anything about. So
I think so. Even when I was starting my earlier business, I did that. And some of the things that come out are really eye-opening.
Yeah, if you're honest.
If you're honest, exactly. And once you get to that place, then you can make that decision if you've been honest about, okay, can I go forward with this or not? I agree. Again, going back to the social media aspect of things. In any business today, would you say that social media is a critical component to find success?
Social media is, to me, very critical. It gives you a light onto your clients and what they think of you. I was talking to a huge restaurant owner, and I said, Guy, I had to tell you that on Yelp, people think your service and your waitresses suck. He said, well, what's Yelp? I said, well, you're a restaurant, you should know these things.
Yes.
They're telling people not to go to your restaurant. And when I showed him, he was stunned. He went in and made a wholesale change of his staff because social media told him proof that people weren't going there.
For sure. I mean, social media in any business now, it's becoming more and more critical. It's not just the people that are doing online, commerce or e-commerce. It's everywhere. It's for businesses like restaurants or any other brick and mortar type business.
I was having a glass of wine at Cactus Club with my wife.
Right.
And they'd raised the price $4 overnight. And I tweeted about it on my phone.
Right, right.
At the end of the dinner, my bill came and the waitress said, Sir, I think our wine should have been more moved into the price hike a little easier. So I'm not going to charge you for the increase. Now, I realized right then that this company has someone monitoring social media at all times. They can address problems right away. Unbelievable.
Right.
Now, I went after Boston Pizza. Totally different story. They're like, social media? What's that? Delta Hotels, the same thing.
Right. So the smart
I shouldn't be saying these companies, but I've gone after them all.
That's right. That's right. So the smart ones know the pulse and they have their finger on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Imagine being able to pivot so fast, being a big company.
But for the little guys, the ones that are just starting out, solopreneurs, for example, the ones that are in business for themselves, are consultants or coaches, what about them? How do they use social media? And this is a generic and a general question, but I'd love to get more into the specifics. Like, what can you do today if you're starting out in order to get your presence get a better presence on there?
Nothing happens overnight, unfortunately.
Yes.
And you have to sort of work with other influencers, maybe. If you're starting out, I'd try Facebook. Gather your followers and take some Facebook ads out.
Right.
They're cheap.
Oh.
Facebook ads are known to get more people, like right from the get-go.
But Facebook, I've been hearing some things, and I'm not a social media expert, so I can't really comment on that. But I'm hearing that the big sites like Facebook and YouTube are starting to see a bit of a slump now. It's the other social media platforms that are starting to come out from there. What's your opinion? What do you think?
Well, you have to diversify. If you're looking at a millennial, you should be using Instagram. If you're looking at Facebook, older demographic now
Right.
than when it started. Twitter continues to be it's not growing as fast, but it's immediate.
Right.
So if you got a sale happening, tell the world on Twitter.
Yes.
You should diversify. I mean, I have Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram are my four main ones.
Okay.
And I pretty much avoid the rest because, again, I don't want to spread myself too thin.
Gary, I think all that we talked about, there's some really solid golden nuggets of advice and information that people can take tomorrow and start working on them. What would you say would be, to wrap up this conversation, what would be your three big advice to people that are starting out?
Read all you can about the business. There's more than three. You have to have a really good focus and just go straight on with the business. You have to have a really good plan in place. And that plan involves everything that I've talked about in my books. SWOT analysis. You want to have the very best information at your disposal, who your clients are, all that stuff has to be in place. So I guess that's planning. So that's what I'd say, yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. Gary, where can my viewers find you?
GaryBizzo.com. CEO at GaryBizzo.com is my email. And I talk to everybody, so I'm an open guy.
And your books are on Amazon?
My book, How to Start a Successful Business the First Time, is on Amazon, and my new book, Social Media Rockstar, Marketing for Business, is going to be on Amazon in August.
Perfect. Well, all I can say is congratulations, Gary.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming out here in my show and sitting down with me to share such golden nuggets of advice. Thank you.
Now we'll open the beers.
Right.
Thanks, Ahmed.
Thank you. Guys, another great interview with such an amazing entrepreneur that really knows what they're doing. And that's the key. It takes time and effort to produce the kind of results that these successful entrepreneurs produce. It's the grit, but it's also the perseverance that gets you where you want to go. So if you have a dream, if you have something you want to pursue, you have to follow that to the end and put in the time and effort that will bring you the results that you want. And like Gary was saying, planning is key. Knowing what you want, having that vision, all these things are absolutely essential when it comes to getting to the success and the results that you want. I hope you enjoyed this interview. I know I did. Until I see you again next time, have a great one, my friend.